Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We'll call the Village Board of Trustees meeting together. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sherry, call roll call, please.
Sparks,
Here.
Zagami,
Here.
Ermeling,
Here.
Ziegler,
Here.
Maloney,
Here.
John,
Here.
Feeney.
Here.
Okay, public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any public comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4, public hearings, community entryway and wayfinding plan, a supplemental element of the Village of Weston comprehension plan. So at this time, we will call the public hearing to order. And item number B, presentation by staff.
All right, if you go to page 10 of the packet, this would be the beginning of the community entryway and wayfinding plan. The CDA and the Plan Commission have been working on this plan for about a year and a half. And if we go through a little bit, they've kind of weeded it down. I believe the first draft had 4 different entryway signs, and then there was a number of the wayfinding signs. They have it down to 1, which starts on page 14. I guess there's kind of 2 versions of it. But the color scheme that they decided to go with is the white background with the burgundy. So these are the 2 options that they're recommending. With all these options, the next step, if you approve this, would be to basically let it out for an RFP. So the resulting signs may not look exactly like this, because I'm sure each sign company will kind of put their little spin on it, but this was to kind of give them a guide. So the first 2 pages, 14 and 15, would be what would be used for primary and secondary signage, which are basically the big entryway signs. The tertiary signs are also on there. And then if you go to page 17, these are the wayfinding. So what they would do, they would replace, page 18 actually shows what our current wayfinding signs are.
Excuse me, please. Where is that tertiary sign going to go?
So we're not that far yet. So
Okay.
Basically, if you go to page 19.
I can wait. I can wait, that's okay.
So basically, page 18 has the current wayfinding signs and then what is being proposed. There were 4 different options. There were 2 different color schemes. There was the green and there was the burgundy. At the meeting, CDA and Plan Commission kind of polled themselves and whoever was in the crowd at the time, and this was the option that was preferred.
Which option?
This proposed, which is next to the current, the green.
Green. Okay.
With it incorporated the tree in.
Yep.
I think that looks sharper.
The Coral one is pretty hard to read them.
So on page 19 shows the existing signage. Basically what Mark and Dan did during the process is they went out and they marked every sign that we had when they were doing their initial study. And page 20 is the map of the proposed signage. So it shows the proposed wayfinding size, the primary, secondary, and then also the proposed entryway signs, the primary, secondary, and then the tertiary. So tertiary, it looks like, are kind of like the little ones that kind of just say welcome to Weston. So There's number 7, looks like it would be when you were coming from the town, crossing the river on J. There's another one on J. There's one that, number 5, would be added coming from Ringel that way. So they're just the little signs kind of marking the boundaries, but they're not the large ones. To save some money, they're basically proposing, especially the big entry primary signs, would be to just reface them. So that was the plan. So like the large one that's over by the Walgreens area, it would just be refaced. And they did break this down into essentially 2 different projects. So if you go to, well, if you go to page 21, this basically outlines where all those signs would be, where they're recommending putting them. And these are the wayfinding signage locations. So that would kind of show you in more of a detail on where they would be planning to put those. And we'd be removing all that other signage that's out there, so there would be, you know, we've got kind of a hodgepodge if you've read through the plan. They've showed different styles over the last 20 years. Those all would be removed as part of this process. So he did give us an estimated cost. So the preliminary estimate for final design, fabrication, and installation of the entryway signs, including contingency, is $250,000, and the preliminary estimate for the wayfinding signs is $160,000. If you approve this tonight, we would be looking at potentially for next year doing the wayfinding signs. We can utilize some of the funds that's left over from the room tax that we need to use, and we can use that for that project.
Would the room tax funds cover all of it, or just most?
I think Jess said we had about 90,000. So, and a lot of these signs are actually within the 2 TIF districts, a lot of them. So these are going to be on your primary routes through the village. So Schofield Avenue, Camp Phillips. There's a bunch over by the school, so East Jelnik area. If approved tonight, we do have, I had Tom kind of run through where the different signage was located. So this is just to basically approve the plan. And then from there, we have to implement the plan. And that would be coming back through the committees. Because like I said before, you would have to let the RFP out to get the design. And then you would get that final cost too. And then we can determine just where and how we want to do the project. If it's in phases or if it's all at once.
I have a question. There are 2 questions. So I know. So you mentioned that room tax is only $90,000. Where is the other funding coming? Where's the other funding coming from to fund the remaining amount?
Well, for the wayfinding, it's most likely going to be through the TIF, through the 2 TIF districts. And then we would have to determine in future budgets the entryway signage. We didn't do those. The majority of those are going to be in the TIF districts. And that would be implementing basically the Camp Phillips County Road X corridor plan, and then the Schofield Avenue one that will be brought back to you guys probably within the next 3 or 4 months.
So basically, this is just a plan, and there's really no discussion yet about where potential funding would be coming from.
That would be the next step. That'd be part of implementation. So this was coming up with the designs, the potential, giving the ideas. So this is kind of the roadmap for the signage. We've put together an RFP and let it out to the sign guys here in the area and kind of see what they come back with. So it may not even be as much. Mark tends to go high on his estimates, so yeah. So it's just a plan right now.
You had 250,000 include the design and and the construction of it, right?
Yep, and installation.
So how much is design, and because you're not bidding the design? Or
They
you
are design, yes, they would be. They would be taking this, but they'd still come up with a design. As Mark explained at the meeting, you probably aren't, it's not like they probably will reproduce it as close as they can, but they're probably gonna put their own little spin on it too, so.
Each sign company?
Well, they're gonna basically bid for it, so they would have.
But if these are the specs we give them, we'd want it as close as possible. Okay.
Yeah, but he did say they may come back a
There's
little
bit,
different.
yeah.
But-
Well, we talked about color too,
Right.
that it could be a darker, a little bit more hue of green so that the white stands out better too.
Right.
Okay.
I think they have to follow the specs so we can compare apple to apple.
Mhm.
If they don't, everybody come with different, and I think it's gonna be difficult for us to make a decision.
True.
So Jen, just a question, it's maybe getting ahead of it a little bit, because we're not talking about completely the funding mechanism yet. But for the portion that we give to the CVP, have they ever given money back for these types of issues for wayfinding?
We're talking about the money we still have.
Yeah,
We
this
still
isn't
have money.
No, I
as-
think you say the 90 grand that we have to spend, I'm talking about, the additional 160,000 to get the 250,000.
Potentially, because I think that's how they did some of the work with the actual branding with Marathon County. They were involved in that, the CVB, the chamber. That's why everyone kind of has that color scheme when they did their central times. That was kind of all together. And I think
But-
they were
and
involved.
That's my question, have they
Yeah.
utilized CVB funding portion towards these types of projects for municipalities?
I think they have through Marathon County. We'd have to request it. Mark looked at the law and he said that that's an option for using that. We would have to request it if we wanted to ask for more.
We could use our 25% and then request them to use the 25% designated for Weston
We could, yeah.
to come over too.
Okay. Yeah, and I just,
And we have 90 sitting there, right? Yeah.
yeah, I just want to put it out there, I'd like to see us at least.
When we get
at
into that,
least
yeah,
try-
we can
when we get
have
to that phase, I
discussions.
would like to see us utilize that if we can before we're just using the TID.
Yeah, because a lot of the things that we're marking are things that get people through the community
Right.
into different things, like, Green Heck Fieldhouse, things like that. I think there was even one for Weston Lane.
My concern would be the expense, where's the money coming from to pay for it?
Okay. Any other questions for staff or anything else, Jen?
No, just if anyone has any questions on the documents. Basically, the reason for the public hearing is that we would be adding this as a supplemental element to the comprehensive plan. So,
Okay, moving on to item C, public hearing, public comment period. It says if public wishes to speak, please fill out a public comment form. I asked Sherry and said nothing has been turned in yet. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to make a comment in regards to this? Okay, hearing none. Item D, looking to acknowledge Plan Commission recommendation, resolution number 2019 PC-002, a resolution recommending adoption of components of the comprehensive plan of the Village of Weston, Marathon County, Wisconsin, consisting of the community entryway and wayfinding sign plan as part of Volume 3/supplemental plans.
that resolution is included in your packet, starting on page 25.
Do we need an acknowledgement?
Move to acknowledge, yeah.
No.
Move to acknowledge that.
Move to acknowledge?
Second. Okay. Motion by Maloney, second by Nate. On the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Item E, we will close the public hearing. So item number F, discussion and action on ordinance number 19-017, an ordinance to adopt components of the village's comprehensive plan consisting of the community entryway and wayfinding plan as part of Volume 3 supplemental plans.
You're looking for a motion, correct?
Looking for a motion to
Yep.
adopt.
So moved.
Motion by Maloney.
Second.
Second by Zagami. On the question.
I guess the only question I have is, if we adopt this, we still haven't actually committed till we know where the funds are.
We still have to address
It-
the
It's a,
financial.
it's a plan, so it's just like the comprehensive plan, there's all kinds of stuff in there that have to come back through, and yes, we would
Okay, well,
have to
I just want
fund
to
it.
verify that I'm not approving spending any funds yet. Okay.
No, you're just basically approving us to start,
I mean, not that I think
The
it's a bad
process.
project, it's just it's a lot of money.
When did this process start? July of 18?
ooh, I don't remember, I think it's listed in that.
History was in there.
We had a
History's in the packet.
July,
I see
Yeah.
the meeting July 18th. I just wondered if it was before that.
no, we started the project on, that was the first meeting where they came to talk
Okay.
and ask questions.
Okay. I mean, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah, we did that and the Schofield Avenue plan at that same meeting. That was a joint meeting of the two.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anything else on the question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, presentations. We have John Wallenkamp from CUNY Architects to give an update on the municipal facilities project.
Nate's got the cord.
Every time someone says Nate, I look around wondering if they're talking to me.
Yeah.
All right, back, last time I was here, we kind of presented different schemes. Working with staff, we've narrowed down different areas and looking for board feedback. The first slide here is this site layout where the building is skewed to Schofield Avenue. All the footprints you see here today are about 88,000 square foot footprints, so either way, they all come out to about the same layout. This slide is highlighted in the bottom. Kind of the angle right here is what we're going to reference as the building setback line. So not parking lot, but mainly building setback line. This particular image is the site that would be parallel to Schofield. Building facade would still step in and out. Primarily in this scheme, the parking lot would be kind of taking up a lot of the green space. Pros and cons with both. And as I get to the comparison, I'll go over it. This high-level view is just kind of giving you the red squares, or just giving you images of parcels or buildings east and west on Schofield. Really, there's no setback everybody is following, or whether they're parallel or perpendicular, skewed in some fashion to the right-of-way line. Primarily, you'll see on the south side, they are parallel to the right-of-way line. On the north side, they're skewed. All with different setbacks from touching it to, 60 feet back.
There is a reason for that.
Yep.
This road, the Schofield Avenue, was 2-lane. County decided they're going to enlarge it and make 4-lane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
it's
result
just-
was some of us lost the frontage of the building. That includes my building.
And I think that's why you'll see that that's why the setback line is where it's established, so that could be done in the future. So image on the left, image on the right, just giving you a comparison. Like I said, they both work for the site. They both will give movement to the facade. It's just really, if there's a preference in the board we're looking for. Staff did review it as we go through the imagery of it. Staff favored the one on the right where it's stepped, but either way, I think we can get all the work, and the goal is to get the entire board and staff on the same page and agreeing to which way we go. The red is just helping you outline the facade line. The yellow there again is the right-of-way line.
Question?
Yep.
It looks like on the right that there's two bodies of water. Are those going to be ponds, or what do those represent?
All those are telling us right now, those are the stormwater
Got it.
areas that we're designating where they would be. The image on the left where you're seeing green space, obviously they would fill in. That's kind of about the area that we're going to see, that we're going to need between water quality and quantity on the site. It's got different drainage patterns on the site, so our goal is to not have to take everything in one direction, that we can take advantage of the site and then also add to the site's characteristics and not just have one pond in one area.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question. You mentioned that staff has a preference for the right one. What was the reasoning?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned that staff had a preference for the one on the right. I guess what was the reasoning for it?
I think it gave a little more character as you're coming down Schofield, and it allows more avenues of view instead of creating more like a hardscape facade parallel, and create more of a tunnel down the road. That was just an interpretation. Staff is here, they can share with that too. As we go through the images, like I said, I think we can get both to work well. It's a goal to get from the board which way you
Now, do both of them have parking in the front?
Yeah, both would have parking on the front, and the scheme on the left would also still need to have some parking wrap around the east side of the building too.
You really don't have room in there to push that building back. You just can't do that, because those property doesn't belong to us. Therefore, the building has to sit just right in those space, no matter how you lay it out.
Yeah, if you remember early on schemes, we actually had the building running more north and south on the site, which gave us very little yard, and it didn't utilize what I'll call the old market area, the farmer's market area, land at all. This way, this helped kind of make the building longer, east and west, I'll call it, and take advantage of the north side of the site for the yard. The goal with the yard is the very northern section would have like a lean-to, and the back side of that would actually help screen the yard as you're coming down the street, and then all the bunkers and the bins and everything would be behind that and open into the yard. They're, again, keeping the winds and the water from getting into the bins. The fuel island, either scheme would kind of be located in that location. Salt, pretty much the same side, buffering the west side of the yard. So really, the yard will work, like I said, in either scheme. Building floor plan, like I said, whatever way we go, the adjacencies pretty much stay the same. This is the first floor plan, upper left repair bay. The blue is the manual wash bay and the auto wash bay. All the green is where heavy, large equipment is going to be stored. The yellow is shops where smaller equipment would be stored. The red is it's shops, it's a park shop. The blow up of the first floor office. Early on, if you remember, everything was on one level for office. Utilizing the two-story space, we were able to divide it up 50-50, so roughly 13,000 square foot on each floor. It was also, as we studied this, we had about 13,000 on the first floor and about 10,000 on the second floor. And what it was doing, it was creating odd-shaped single-story roofs network, which was inflating the cost. It just made sense to push everything out to the outer walls and keep both floors equal in square footage. The blue dot that you're seeing there is what I'm going to call private side, and that would be the counter. So staff, that's where they greet people. The yellow dot is the large waiting area. That waiting area would be open to the lobby space, but they're again secured by a counter. On the east end of that lobby space would have kiosk space for computers, so people can actually come in and almost self-serve themselves as technology changes a little bit. That we have, but then they have at surveillance from staff, or if they want to ask questions, they can do that. The magenta dot, which is the main public entry right when you walk in, you're going to see a monumental stairwell. That staircase will also lead you to the second level. And as I go to that page, I'll explain. But pretty much you have admin on the first floor, the boardroom, which is replacing this spot here, and then the lunch training room, which is the orange section. That area would be the spot that would be used for voting. So we'd no longer take this space and have to convert it over for voting. We'd actually do it in that orange lunch training room. That lunch training room can be broken into two different spaces, so it's about a third, 2/3. So there again, even if we do some voting, get ready for voting, staff doesn't lose their lunchroom. The room right above the lunch training is a kitchen. It's kind of a galley kitchen, vending area for staff, for public, if that's means. But it's outside the space, so you're not hearing the noise of that, and then you can go in the lunch training. All the public restrooms are off that main center core lobby. The center core lobby is the only spot that would be open, if the building's open, that the public could get to. The three gray squares are three restrooms, single-use restrooms, unisex restrooms. Working with staff, we felt it was better than doing a male, female, and unisex. Just make them all three unisex restrooms, and then it gives more opportunity for use.
How would the traffic flow for voting?
We're slowly working through that. Just as of last meeting, we switched it from being in the meeting room to but the goal was that whether we enter through here and then also exit through this door, like I said, staff, we haven't met since we
Okay.
created that change with staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the boardroom a multi-use room? Not?
Still would be a multi-function
It would be?
space.
Okay.
The goal would be though, is the discussion that we have it right now, the board seating arrangement would be a fixed entity the way we have it now. It doesn't have to be. If it wants to be
Okay.
modular furniture that breaks down and we can tuck away, that's open for input yet too.
So what's the capacity of that boardroom?
That boardroom is about, I think this was about 14,000, we went to 1,800 square feet.
How many people?
1,800, what is this right now? Anybody know?
I think we were at 12.
This says 135 occupancy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just Scotty's.
Square footage.
I think we went up about 400 square feet if I remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. It looks so massive on there, but 400 square feet
Yeah.
is 4 by 10,
Yeah.
so.
And what I
Or
can do
no,
is
4 by,
I can,
40
if it
more than
helps
that,
the
40
board, I
by
can,
10, yeah, sorry.
in the future, do an
That's okay.
overlay so you can kind of see the comparison.
John, can you
One,
just go
two,
back to that, where the layout, so
This one?
back one, where you had two. You've got, on that one, basically, you've got one truck entrance that goes into the building. The one on the right actually has, two entrances going into the yard.
Correct.
Versus just the one on the one side. You have entrances in the building on both sides. But is there an advantage to having a separate, two entrances actually into the yard area versus one into the building
Yeah.
and one into the yard?
What I would do is focus, we would take everything on the right. If our goal was to push it and be parallel to Schofield, we would bring those same concepts over. Right now, you can see it was just a high-level shot on the left image. But yes, I think you would want the multiple
Well, I'm
entrances.
saying there's only one entrance to the yard on that, on the
Mhm.
left-hand side. You'd think you
Yeah.
would want two,
Yeah.
coming in and out.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay. that
And
was
and
my-
really, that's a thing to study with you, because as you secure the yard, you want to make sure you can easily cut off sections from other sections too. But yeah, if one gate goes down, you do need a second means of getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the right one, there is, into the light lime green for the garage, I saw an exit on the left side. Is there one on the right side too, into the yard?
On this one?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, there's actually an
Okay.
exit here,
Okay.
and over here.
Okay.
First floor, like I said, this is kind of a lockdown lobby area. This we did create this waiting room here, open, so if for some reason board goes into closed session and they stay, the public has plenty of space to have overflow and leave the boardroom and go out into the waiting areas, we'll call them.
So right now, that picture there, I come in those main doors, get through the vestibule.
Yep.
Where can I get to? I can get to the blue?
You can go to the right.
Yep, and then
This
right,
is all open.
yes?
This is all open.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Why wouldn't that be locked down?
Well, it's going to be locked right here.
Where?
This door's right here.
Yep, but why can I get upstairs?
Up and out as I go through. So the elevator's right here.
Yep,
You're going to be able to go up the stairs. The upper level, you can get to here. So building that and zoning would be upstairs, so you can come up here and there's going to be another counter right here. And then the elevator here, and then it's locked down here. So on the second level, you can only get to this little platform area.
okay.
Yep.
And can I get to the left of those stairs on the main level, and I can only go back to what, the bathrooms?
On the main level?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that's all locked down there, up and down.
Yeah, so this is
And I've got
locked
a
right
counter
here.
on top to zoning, and I got a counter at the blue dot there.
Correct.
Okay.
This main conference room on the first floor would be the primary deck. So any large-size conference room, which is the primary conference room in the middle of this building, we no longer have to drag people all the way to the
Right.
building. That would happen right in that spot. That room would also be set up for early voting, so staff can oversee that. So everything would be right in that conference room. Second floor, as I mentioned, you can come up these stairs. It's locked down to here, in the counter here, elevator here. You can't get past that point.
One stair, one elevator, not a second
For the
stair?
public, correct. There's more stairs
There's more
internally.
stairs, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So there again, the light blue is planning and zoning. Public Works is the dark purple, Parks is the red. The beauty with this, it works out, they can oversee the vehicle parking
Yep.
garages from the upper level. Imagery, we worked with staff thinking about colors, and really it's all open. This scheme here, you can see the main building facade is a darker brick with accent lighter colors. The big garage piece in the back, I'll call it, is a lighter color. Here again, this is just everything light. This is a different scheme, so there's a lot less glass on the facade, especially on the second floor. A little bit of different entrance canopy and columns. It's that same scheme of going to dark.
Dark what?
The brick,
Okay.
the main accent of here. You can see that this one is light. That's dark.
Are those flat roofs? With
They're all low slope
in-
roofs. Yep.
internal drains?
Yep. Internal drains. This is coming down Schofield, so it'll give you a feeling of what I was saying, that facade is kind of stepped
For
and
the
give you
lawn,
more.
lawn's mowed?
The hiccups is,
Good job, Sean.
Yep.
That looks really sharp.
That's the dark one, right?
the recommendation was the dark one, and the more glass, the better. The back isn't fully developed, but obviously some of the characters with the colors, glass, things like that would be carried along to the back. The back would be 100% fenced in.
Total building, total footprint is 88, first
The
floor?
footprint is 88, and we're a little over 107,000
With the
square feet on
upstairs.
total build-out footprint with mezzanines.
Not including the salt, just this build here.
Correct. This was, like I said, the darker colors with the larger, more glass was kind of the recommended view. But there again, we're looking for, board's input and thoughts.
I guess my first thoughts is, I like the staff's recommendation, and considering that they're going to be the ones working here, I think that it's important to take that into account. My second, well, I guess more of a question is, what's the plan for the roof? Is it just going to be tile, or is there an option for the village to pursue some solar panels with renewable energy concerns?
Yeah, the roof would be a membrane type roof system. Pretty much all the buildings we're working on these days, the roofs are designed for future solar to be added to it. Most of those solar panels that are being added to are ballasted type systems.
Okay.
So what that means is it's essentially a solar panel that sits on a box. In the box, they put an aggregate or to hold it down. So structurally, it doesn't need to be all the different supports coming through. We would make provisions with conduits coming through the roof. So later on, it's easily, you're not cutting through it. Even if you did, it's a membrane system. It's easier to do. Solar panels, obviously, the systems have come a long way, so it's something that you want to study and look at the payback. A lot of the facilities we do like this, the usage isn't enough for the amount of square footage you have on the roof, but the amount of office space we do have here probably would make it attractive to look at.
Okay, thank you.
And we could definitely do that and, bring some feedback on that piece.
Do you have a ballpark of this somewhere that you
Yeah.
built already? Where?
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's see the slide.
I had a question.
Yep.
The roof, you said the membrane, is that a completely flat roof or is it?
No,
angled?
yeah, they're low slope roofs, so by code, you can no longer do a flat
Okay,
roof.
because I was
So
just going to
quarter
say
inch
you
per
don't want to go
foot.
there.
Yeah, yeah. And then you have overflow scupper, there's different things in place, but roofs by code no longer can be totally flat.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, Wisconsin winters are not,
Yep.
they don't last, the membranes don't last real long.
No external drains at all,
No,
right?
it's not.
Okay.
It'd be all internal drains, which adds to the beauty of
Mhm.
helping you,
Mhm.
in the winter months, it will actually keep that drain
Mhm.
free of ice.
I think it still freeze.
I'm sorry?
It still freeze. Because my building is all internal, where the pipe coming out, that's where it freeze. So we put the heat tape in there.
Yeah, it all depends on how you discharge that pipe. If that pipe, you're right, if that pipe discharges above grade,
How are you gonna discharge it? Unless you go underground,
Underground?
4 or 5 feet below the frost line.
and that's typically what we do.
Yes.
Typically, the storm drain is discharged similar to a sanitary water. Water be, 7 to 8 feet sanitary, so you typically would want to do that. So right now, we're still stringing around the $13 million budget's been thrown out there. Depending on how we piece it together at the end, we're anywhere from the 12.5 to 14.5. So our goal is to keep working this down to where we need it to be. Every week that goes by, we refine this piece to bring it in where we feel the number needs to be, or can, the best it could be. Real quick, and then we'll come back, public safety building, just an update on that. We got the full concepts down with this one, with working with police and fire. Our goal is to go into construction drawings with this. And the primary things here is the apparatus bay, reworking some mechanical systems, the floor drains, fitness room, locker room, bathrooms for the police, increase the evidence storage design. The police also look at their front entry for security. And on a second level, create a different environment on the second level for sleeping units and the day room and the lunch kitchen. Questions? If there's things that you feel we should help bring to help narrow in pros and cons of the yard, I guess that's, to me, is one of the major pieces here, I think, the board has thoughts on that we should be looking at.
And I couldn't tell from the picture on the front entryway, the main entrance. you had cement planters going around the building.
Yeah.
Did that cover that front window? I couldn't tell from the picture whether
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
covered that front entryway for, so nobody could drive a vehicle through that.
Yeah, the goal would be to extend that planter so you could not drive right into the front doors. And you'll notice there's no parking right at the front doors either. I do have a live image. If you want to see any images inside, I could take you inside the building, but really the focus tonight, I could do that. But if you have a feeling what you would need to see or give some feedback on the site or any other pieces of the building, or cost-related things.
And you'll get to a like building somewhere in, right? I mean, do you have a like building like that somewhere else?
Alike?
Well, we saw Oshkosh,
Oh.
we saw the different ones,
Yeah.
Little Chute, and those were more the maintenance buildings. I mean, do you have something that's commingled like this, that looks like this, that utilizes the glass like this?
Yeah.
And where is it?
Yeah, the Mequon facility.
Okay.
Which I know it was on the tour, we
Yep.
stopped it short. The other ones I can show you some imagery are in Iowa,
Okay,
yeah. But the Mequon has a lot of the same colors in there,
okay.
and if you want, I can get it to staff and they can pass it on to you.
So this is just like the other ones that we were talking about, this has already been proven.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Got a question on size facility. I mean, we've had very, very informal discussions here and there on possibility of working with other communities on, expansions, consolidated efforts. So, based on this model, if we were to combine, just an example, public works or something like that, how much existing space in that facility, if we were to add on, like a Schofield or a community like that, one of our smaller neighboring communities, would that building be able to accommodate that?
Yeah, so the footprint, the big footprint that's going to change is the main green piece, the 52,000 square foot vehicle parking. The nice thing is pretty much all the other areas, the wash bay, aren't going to change that much. So it's really the vehicles. You can see you have areas to do it. We have to go north here or west or west. So to me, there's been some input staff have given us, so we definitely can study those. But I think it's doable. Can we add another 50,000 square feet? No. But I think you easily can add, anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 square feet and absorb something like that.
What do we have right now existing? That usable building space, usable buildings.
I apologize, I took all the slides out and I didn't.
Yeah.
Give me like 2 minutes, I can correct it.
Okay, just ballpark.
Remember, he said usable.
Yeah, not just, a hunk of wood and stuff, so.
If I remembered,
Upstairs.
you guys were on the low end of how much you've done, and I think we were doubling the square footage, if I recall.
Oh, I thought it was triple.
Was it triple?
Yeah, I thought so. And I thought we were at like 95 or 100. So I thought we were like at 35 or 40, no?
I think entire square footage, everything together, yeah.
Well, 88 will be the footprint, but then you got another, what'd you say up on top?
We come up to about 107.
107 total?
Yeah, round up
Okay.
to 108.
So our total, including this building and all the outbuildings, is 28,100 square feet.
Okay.
That's this building and then all the
All the other ones that we
outsheds.
use, okay. So it's
So-
more than triple.
The model you looked at for square footage, what did you anticipate for growth? Double in size, triple in size of the village? What are you looking at realistically as the community grows?
The model that we've used here is what we've used in other facilities, is that your current square footage and fleet primarily are going to grow, even if they grow 20%. It's usually an equipment that is more seasonal, that you can juggle with riding. Remember that, the original report even said that per this footprint, you were gonna do that.
Do what?
That you would have more seasonal storage that
Right,
wouldn't,
right.
that would juggle from one site to the other.
Right.
Our goal was to keep the day-to-day active use equipment on this site, so we're saving the time.
Right.
That was the goal.
So 28,000, this building and the other outbuildings, 28,000.
Yep.
To 107, so quadruple. Okay.
Yeah, so like, in our back garage right now, if you went there, everything's parked.
Right,
Tight,
I know it's
so,
tight,
yeah.
I know that,
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and like to
Okay.
John's point, I went through for
winter operations, and this design currently, we could get every vehicle in one building without even having anything at Ryan Street. So there's adequate room looking at the future of, if we need to shuffle
And
things.
administration too. Yeah.
And like in the floor plan for administration, I know on the second floor, there's actually quite a bit of vacant, on the blue side, there's, let's see here, if you go the light blue, it's a small conference room, and then it's future planning, what is it, / property, future associate planner, and then that kind of big brown open office area right now is, I think we have 2 employees, maybe that would be in there.
What I can tell you is the green space that is making the biggest impact of the site is your cheapest space. And to cut back and say, we're going to, instead of 52, we're going to go to 40, all you're doing is taking the volume of scale of those large bays and so it's no longer 85, you just push the number. And public record, it was proven in Portage County when we bid that facility. We took a whole 40-foot section as an alternate bid to take off because and that ended up being $38 a square foot. So you see what I'm saying? So if you leave it the bigger box, you get it, but it's something to think about. That's the cheapest square footage to take square footage off.
So what's the life expectancy of this facility without expansion?
Without expansion?
No, with.
Without expansion and with the expansion, if you have to do.
This was designed for 40-year building, knowing that if you grow in anything with equipment, it's seasonal, it would be at Ryan.
Well, a question for Michael. Hypothetically, if next year we said, hey, we're going to merge our DPW with Schofield, would they be able to, with their equipment and ours, would we be able to fit that in this facility?
It looked like we could, yeah.
We got the inventory of their equipment. You just looked at that.
Yeah.
I think if we want to have room for expansion, we got to purchase those buildings behind it on the west side of it. Other than that, there is a minimum amount of room available for this structure to expand.
Yeah, what I would say is that's a discussion to have. As it sits today, that's not needed. Does it make sense for the village in the future if that land comes available? It does make sense. It's adjacent to you, but it's nothing that's needed to make this plan work for the next 40 years.
And we're 4 timesing what we have. I just want everyone to be clear on that. I'm as excited as anybody else, but 4 times. Okay.
And I didn't bring that slide. I kind of, the historically shows, and I had that slide, kind of presentation number 1, that it's not abnormal for a community to increase that footprint.
Well, you don't want the stacked
How
trucks.
changeable is the inside for the admin? I mean, are we utilizing those hallways? Are there some redundant hallways? Are we losing, office areas because of extra hallways, or creating different zones of personnel? I'm trying to fix some of it in my head, and I can't. But, I mean, is that something that you do all the time, where you're trying to get as much capacity?
Yeah, but then the goal is, you don't want to jam it all into such a
And some
tight
separation,
box.
right.
But every space that is white, I'll call it, is functional using space. So this circulation space are files, working areas, so it's, the spaces that we created are actually working pieces. This main corridor is where you're going to have, this main corridor is where everybody's going.
Right.
So you need a little bit more width. To take a hallway from 6 foot from 8, we're not saving a thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so all that was kind of studied where anything that was open created workspace environments. Even with the main lobby, our goal is, we wanted a presence, we wanted this building to be totally locked down in the evening, but not feel like you're waiting in a little vestibule.
That's nice.
like I said, colors really don't matter right now. I guess to me, you know, it's what it is. You know, colors and architecture is 100% opinion, so.
I like the dark with a little bit of light, I think it makes it. Doesn't show up the dirt so fast.
So John, to kind of move forward here, do we need to get a sense from the board as to what orientation they like the building on the site? Or do we?
Yeah, all I want to know is make sure we're going down the right path. If the board wants to see something else, that's, I apologize, I clicked out. You know, it's up to you guys. I think both, we can get it to work and be first class in safety and imagery. There again, it's one of those things that I don't know if it has a true, definite one answer. I think if the board said, you know what, we want it skewed, it's going to be great. If we want it parallel, we'd work it either way.
Well, do you want to straw poll? I mean, we're not making formal decisions, but.
Nate? Right or left?
I'll echo the staff and go right.
I'll go right.
I'll go right.
Okay,
I'll pass.
I would go right.
I'll go right.
I was right also.
Now, if I switch it to the left, it's going to go left.
I like the darker color scheme, that just
Yeah,
from
same
the
here.
one that you showed. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know whatever the people think.
I like it, I think it gives it a richer,
It's a richer.
yeah.
It looks, you know, Hussein made a comment at the last meeting that we want it to be now, you know, not wow, but now. This building is wow also. It's now, it's industrial, it's a little Frank Lloyd Wright-ish looking. I mean, it's hip. It's a very attractive building.
Yeah.
You know, you look at some of our neighbors that have built somewhat newer buildings, and they some of them are a little dated already.
Yeah.
Where this is the correct roof line. I mean, these internal drainage with no exposure when it comes out, when it does dump below surface, that's the way to go. You don't want to wrestle with that stuff at all in the wintertime. And I've been involved in some builds with some grocery stores, and I'm telling you that just makes your day on a thawing day for water. That's a really big deal. That's a very attractive. That brick in the front, in the center like that, oof, that's pretty.
I'm a big fan of all the windows.
Mhm. I don't know, I'm thinking about the heat and
Yeah,
this and that,
was
but
my thought, but.
I'm a little messed up there, but, and all the window coverings, like it'll be $100,000 just in window coverings.
And we'll go through all this as a progressive with Focus on Energy
Yeah.
and their program, and we'll study that, and we'll actually get payback analysis,
Yeah.
both of those. You know, whether that, the bottom, hardscape and masonry sill should be up a foot,
Mhm.
you know, every little foot we're gonna study and look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wally's got a good point on that, you know, the crazy stuff that happens nowadays in our society, and
Yeah.
we need to protect the doors, the entrances, you know, foot traffic. If we gotta put some target balls in there, that's what we gotta do. So,
I just have a question. This might be a little premature, but I guess the question I would have is has there been any discussions about potential, I guess operational savings? You know, like how much would it cost per square foot to operate this building? Are we looking at that as well to make sure that a lot of our lights are green, are more cost efficient, or looking at that so that we can save something as well from?
Yeah. Yeah, and we have your utility bills, we'll do a comparison next time. I'll come here and show you. What you find is sometimes, a lot of times, the square footage that you're spending for utilities is pretty much the same in a new building. That's, whether it's 3 times, 4 times the size, because of the efficiency gain.
Are those satellite systems, you know, for heating and cooling? I mean, around the whole building, or is it central?
It'd be satellite, it'd
would-
be individual systems,
Okay,
yeah, because we work the zones.
Yep.
Even the vehicle, the garage would be
Yep.
multiple zones, so you're not kicking one makeup air unit on for the whole 52,000 square foot. You probably have at least 3 of them in there. So by zones, they would go off and not be running
Yep.
constantly.
And we won't have that dark chalky stuff that Husheng saw in Oshkosh or Little Chute, that line in the inside up there, coming through the brick. So you got that figured out?
It was
right
in
now?
like garbage area, like the garbage.
No, it was that whole,
Was it?
that huge utility area in, it was Oshkosh. And it was
I thought
sucking,
it was
it was
their
sucking
garbage
through the,
trucks.
Oh, the yellow
they
one?
painted it,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
that was more of
a grit,
a,
yeah.
it's actually a chemical release that's
Yeah.
on the precast form that wasn't
Right.
cleaned properly.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Okay, and huge exhaust for the garage and stuff. Okay.
We changed.
All right, anything else for John?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job,
Appreciate the update.
very good job.
All right, moving on to item number 6, minutes from the previous board meeting on 9/16/2019.
Move to approve.
Motion by Maloney, second by Jean. On the question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Item number 7, written correspondence. Anything, Sherry or Keith?
I do not have anything.
All right. Moving on to reports, minutes from boards, committees, and commission. Looking to our motion to acknowledge items 8 through 19.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jean, second by Ermeling. On the question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion approved. Reports from departments, number 20, Administrator Keith.
The report in the packet was pretty brief. I did indicate in there and provided an update yesterday. I apologize for the late night email, but Friday, Attorney Sweeney met with DNR Legal Counsel and also had Keith Patrick on the telephone from the local area here. The DNR was not happy or not satisfied with the letter of intent form that was provided as part of the updated permit submittal. So today we spoke with Attorney Sweeney after his meeting with DNR. Apparently the DNR legal counsel is willing to accept, and it sounds kind of funny, a letter of agreement to agree. Tell me what that is, I don't know, but, so they're gonna work out a form. I guess the DNR legal counsel is gonna be providing that letter for,
And
use
it can
by
stay
FDG.
confidential, right?
It will still stay confidential until, the last possible time in the process. So, I guess at this point then, JSD is gonna update the DNR on the submittal, to satisfy their, concerns from the last meeting and their previous review of the submittal. So, I guess when that's ready and when it's submitted, we'll give you another update. I guess then we are getting close to the time to start thinking about getting a meeting with FDG. Ellers had provided some questions to FDG, which they did provide last Wednesday, and Eller staff did not have a chance yet to look at those responses in terms of the pro forma analysis. So as we look at that, we'll be getting closer to the time to meet with the board, the CDA, Plan Commission, whoever needs to be involved. And we talked about having a public information meeting in advance of the public hearing on the individual permit as part of the strategy. And whether we want to consider possibly even a separate meeting with the landowners that are involved here. Again, FDG is responsible for the land acquisition, but we know what they may be asking us for is going to be quite influenced by the land values. And as there's more work involved in the permit compliance or wetland mitigation, those things all play into what the land should be valued at in terms of what it's purchased for. So So, still some moving parts, a little bit of progress, it's not fast progress by any means, as we know.
I did get a message from one of the landowners, and I did not respond, because the last time we did talk, and I felt it was important to tell the landowner that we speak as a board, and I don't have any answers alone, so I did not respond, just so you know. So in case that does come up, I did exactly what I said the last time that I was going to do if he called again. So, just so you know. Just wanted more communication from anybody. So.
Sure.
Okay.
So I think that's the only update I wanted to provide, in addition to what was in my report. So unless you have questions, I did indicate I will not be able to attend tomorrow night's CEA meeting. Since my daughter's visiting from Florida, and we'll be,
She brought us some sunshine.
yeah, we needed it last week, that's for sure.
Keith, any idea when they anticipate being able to do the financial analysis, Ellers? I mean, to give you any.
I'm hoping to talk to them tomorrow just to get a sense for when they'll, what questions they're gonna have coming back. So I think we're gonna be talking here in the next couple of weeks, as to what some of their concerns would still be after getting the response from FDG. So should be able to give some update this, report this coming week.
I guess I'd kind of like to know what is the drop dead date that we can't do it if we don't get it going.
It all depends on what the valuation
I know,
is
but-
going to be constructed there.
I don't
Those
think
are questions for them.
there's not a date.
There's not a date.
It's just to get everyone on the same page.
Yeah, but I
To
mean,
get-
there is a point where if we don't get some value going in a period of time, we're not gonna be able to pay it off before the TIF runs out.
That's the analysis we're waiting for.
Yeah, I know, but it's
Yeah, I
just,
think the time's not our friend. It's like, the longer it gets dragged out, the less we're gonna really be able to contribute to the project, all that stuff. That's where we have to rely on some financial projections and reasonable assumptions. So,
man,
All right, anything else for Keith? 21 clerks. Sherry, you have anything?
I have nothing new to report.
Okay, any questions for Sherry? Finance, Jess,
Nothing to add.
any questions for Jess? Fire EMS, Matt.
We report next week, or not next week, next board meeting. Other than that, answer any questions.
Were you guys have to deal with the issue in Schofield, or did you guys on scene for that?
Yep, we were there.
So, how long did you guys have to stick around? I know it was a pretty tenuous scene in Schofield for some fire reasons.
I was there close to 5 hours.
All right, any questions for Matt? All right, Parks Recreation, Sean.
I did have a report in the packet, and I did also note in there that the ribbon cutting for the memorial is supposed to be next Thursday at noon. So it's October 16th at noon. They're actually planning on setting the memorial tomorrow morning, and then it'll be covered through the week till the unveil. And another note, the sign at the canoe and kayak launch is scheduled to be delivered next week. As you probably all know, it's been gone since that truck hit it way back in early June. Tile finally finished production with that, and we'll be delivering it next week, so we'll be preparing to set that when it arrives next week. And then the fence at the dog park, we've had a contract with them signed since April. They finally showed up to start installing it today. They got about 400 feet of posts installed, and should be done this week, depending on how the weather obviously works out, but it's wet. I was out there with them this morning again, verify, they had about 17,000 pounds of fence and posts on their truck when they went out there, and it was, they made it, but
Run it up a little.
I don't think they'll be bringing the second load, they're gonna be bringing a smaller load.
Yeah.
And we did find a better route for them where there was no issues, so, but, yeah.
I just have a question, a point of clarification. You mentioned that the ribbon cutting is on Thursday next week, or is it supposed to be Wednesday? I'm looking at your report here, it says Wednesday.
Does it say Wednesday?
So-
It is Wednesday. Wednesday is the 16th? Okay, yeah, it's Wednesday at noon then. Sorry about that. I don't know if they'll continue to plan for it to be because the landscaping has not been even started. But that's the plan as of right now, because I know they had rescheduled it once before already, so. Expecting to see some progress in the landscape part of it too. Hopefully now with it drying up a little bit. But the excavating company will be there tomorrow too. Hopefully we'll at least be able to level the site out, fill it in, get some topsoil in along it, and they'll be, more presentable regardless once they get that part of it done, so.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Any questions for Sean? All right, moving on, plan and development, John.
My report will be in the next packet. That's my normal report day. So if anyone has any questions
Any questions
on
for John?
anything.
Okay, item 26, police, he'll have his report next week, or next meeting. Public Works, Michael, do you have anything you want to add?
I guess just if anybody's been getting any feedback or complaints about the condition of Ross Avenue, our plan right now between tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, hopefully if it's not raining, we'll be milling out the bad spots that we've been trying to patch all summer, spring, and paving them with hot mix asphalt and compacting it. So it should be more of a permanent fix for the rest of the fall going into spring.
From where to where?
Basically from the bridge all the way to Birch Street.
Oh, okay.
There's, it's spotty where the bad spots are.
Like you did down closer to Green Heck down there? Like it was down there?
That was a different surface treatment, but,
Okay.
so we'll just be milling out about the 2-foot wheelway
Oh, okay.
and then
Okay.
putting new material down.
Okay.
That was just a coordination issue of trying to get the right skid steer and whatnot together, so.
Who's doing it?
We will be as
Okay.
staff, so it's just making sure that we could find a local fabric in the right skid steer and mill head available for us. So. And then brush and leaf pickup starts next week, Monday.
Quite a project over on Casey.
Yeah. So let's take care of some of, so Barb mentioned staff's finishing up a little storm sewer extension on Teagan over by Casey Ray. Anybody who was there this spring, there's about 2 feet of water at that intersection. So
I tried to get to my niece's house, I thought I had to swim in.
yeah, so we extended some of the storm sewer from Fife up the road so that it has a place at least to drain away now.
Bless you.
Just over there by on Casey. I mean,
All right, any questions for Michael? Technology, Nate.
I don't have anything to add to my report, so if you have any questions.
He tried to talk.
Okay.
Reflex. You couldn't help it.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like to pull out for individual consideration? If not, be looking for a motion on items 30 to 33.
so moved.
Second.
Motion by Ermeling, second by Maloney. On the question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Ordinances, we have nothing. Resolutions, item number 36, resolution number 2019-025, an agreement accepting excess funds from the Wausau Metro Strong Capital Campaign to be used for the preservation of the March 22nd, 2017 Memorial Monument located in Kennedy Park.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jean, second by Feeny.
I guess my question is, I don't assume there's gonna be a lot of cost to this maintenance of this.
Well, there could be, and is it gonna be an open that people can donate into it, to the preservation or not?
Well, I think people can donate into Wausau Metro Strong,
Right.
so I would assume that they probably could.
Okay.
I know the earmarked 1,000 on this was 1,000 for 2019 and 1,000 for 2020, so.
Okay.
Kind of nice that not only
Mhm.
putting it in, but they're putting some money in advance, just in case we need to do some repairs, so.
Okay.
Has there been any other discussion related to that, Sean, as far as down the road?
Well, I mean, they don't know how long their group could possibly last. And that's the thing, you know, you'd hope Boston Metro Strong will continue on, but we all know groups come and go, unfortunately. So they really can't commit to anything super long-term, because you don't know. But they do plan on continuing the run where they'll be raising more funds. And that's kind of why they are designating some funds this year, some next year. So once they hold the run next year, they'll raise some more funds. And I'm assuming they're planning on doing additional projects, something more. So, and I also did note in there that, you know, this is considered an artistic piece, so it's actually included in our current insurance premium. So there's not an additional premium for adding the memorial itself.
Yeah, I saw that. That was nice.
So, and then I think the original dollar amount discussions came from our deductible per occurrence is $1,000. Technically with $2,000, if you don't use anything for additional maintenance, just say something catastrophic happens, a tornado comes through, it's $1,000 per occurrence. It would cover the memorial, it would cover the benches that are insured.
I was wondering, how much maintenance would there be on this? If they're
We're anticipating,
donating?
yeah, we're anticipating, you know, sealing the monument, sealing the concrete. Of course, you have to tend to the shrub beds, no different than we do other places. And then if, say, you know, a shrub dies and it has to be replaced, there'll be some cost there in the future. But it's, you know, and so we're not anticipating a lot of costs. You know, we still have to mow the grass around it regardless, you know. So if you have to trim a dozen shrubs a year, you know, that's going to take us.
I was just kind
you know,
of
so
curious. You know, what,
but sealing the concrete will probably cost us $110 for a 5-gallon fail sealer every 3 to 5 years. So.
Sean, was there discussion when you put this agreement together that like shrubs and planting and that stuff would be included and they would take out of that fund, or is it?
Well, this will be our fund, so we determine what that will be used for. The funds will actually be turned over to us.
Are you anticipating using, you know, paying somebody hourly wage because they're weeding shrub beds, or I guess my question is.
No, I mean, I would figure the regular maintenance as part of our duties as Public Works Department. So I wouldn't say take that out of the maintenance fund. But if you say we should use, like, say, concrete sealer, should we take that out of that maintenance fund that's designated for this memorial? I would say yes, you know, or say if you know, maybe a couple shrubs, it could be, but we do also have a turf maintenance, you know, and shrub budget, so, or landscape maintenance. So I guess that's for you to determine if we want to use that for regular maintenance or just incorporate it in our regular budget, or if it's just for basically those catastrophic things that possibly could happen, or, you know, say it's vandalizing. You know, you hate to say it's going to happen, but that could be something where when we want to turn it into insurance, and then we'd have money for the deductible.
If I recall, this resolution was based off the Monglau veterans resolution that Ward McBain and also the planning committee did with the county. And the whole intention was, it was basically, in a sense, saying that they give that fund to the county so that the county could use it at their discretion. So if they wanted to just incorporate it with part of their budget, they're more than welcome to use it for, as long as they agree to maintain that statue, or whether it's sealing the concrete or whatever. But it was at the discretion of the county, so it would be the same intention would be here as well, would be at the discretion of staff or the village chair.
Correct, and that would be my thought. If you wanted to incorporate this as a one-time revenue, and then we just use our regular operation funds in the future, I mean, that would be obviously totally acceptable too. So just whatever you decide is the best way to handle that. And it is, the agreement is based off the same one that you're talking about, so.
I would think you could use it for maintaining it. Once you run out of the money for it, then it comes out of,
Okay, we have motion and second. Anything else on the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have no unfinished business. Number 37, new business, installation of a flagpole at Kennedy Park by DC Everest Youth Baseball.
Move to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Jean, second by Maloney. On the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 38, accept the donated funds to install a bench at the Weston
Move to
Dog
approve.
Park.
Second.
Motion by Maloney, second by Ziegler. On the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 39, Kennedy Park shelter repairs.
Move to approve.
second,
Motion by Maloney,
second.
second by Ermeling, sorry.
That's all right. I didn't say it real loud.
On the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 40, park office roof replacement.
Move to approve.
Motion by Feeney,
Second.
second by Maloney. On the question?
I had talked to Sean on this. My concern had been, I know he says the roof has to, otherwise the building is going to be, become just not usable. But I guess my question had been, if we're looking at a facility that the parks are going to be in our new building or whatever, what would this be used for? Are we going to tear it down? Are we going to use it for something else? And I guess,
And I can tell you exactly what I told Barb. So currently, that building is used jointly. It's Kennedy Park Hall, which we rent out for groups. We also, DC Everest Youth Baseball uses it. Currently, Everest Youth Football uses it. We also rent it out, but it also houses 2 offices. And that's the park department offices currently. Once those move out, it'll free up an area in that building. And, do we continue using that building as the same use, or do we expand it for a different use? We know the warming house facility is over there at Kennedy Park is in poor shape, so we talked about possibly utilizing part of that building as a new warming house, which would improve the current one tremendously. So there are obviously different options, but understand if we don't maintain it, then we lose the value that is there. So with the roof sagging in some areas where the plywood's going bad, obviously, if we knew we were going to tear it down in a couple years, it would make sense probably not to do more than just patch job to repair it. So the building was moved there in 2005. As far as all the facilities over there, it's the newest building we have at Kennedy Park. So I guess it's for you to determine if the value is to continue using it. I think that there may be some interest from some groups to use it for more use if we, free up even the area that we use right now. So, like I said, Everest Youth Baseball uses it monthly for their board meetings. Eiffel used it for the past 6 weeks for their Saturday morning football. This spring, we had booked a lot of rentals, indoor rentals, April, May specifically. Our next rental this fall is not till Christmas. We usually have a group that uses it, or a family, every Christmas for their Christmas dinners. So it doesn't add a lot of revenues to the village, but it does cover some expenses of operating it. Plus, well, Barb says, we provide electricity and heat, but right now it houses our offices, so we hope we have heat. We have heat and electricity there. So will that continue in the future? And right now, we don't know exactly what the plan is for everything. But we know that, like I said, we'll lose the value of the building if we don't maintain it too.
Anything else on the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 41, facility lease agreement with the town of Weston.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Maloney, second by, is that John?
Yep.
By Ziegler. question?
I guess on the question, just to, if I may, just to inform the board that Milt and I talked today about this. He did not have a chance to look at it, I guess, until today. He initially wanted to stay at the $3,700, like I said, but after explaining to him what's included in here, he was okay with it, so I guess he'll be taking it to his board next Tuesday.
Okay.
Thanks, Keith. I was curious if you had a follow-up conversation. I saw the email exchange. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 42, release and hold harmless agreement for access to Marathon County property.
Move to approve.
Motion by Feeny.
I'll second it just to get some discussion.
Second by Ermeling. On the question.
I have had some people contact me, they're kind of wondering how many trees you're gonna cut out of there. That is a sound barrier for the snowmobiles going past. And I guess, and I said, well, I think you were just going to do it to open up the area. I wasn't thinking you were gonna cut down all the trees, I don't, you know.
Well, it's, the vision triangle is what we're trying to gain, and a sound versus safety or vision, it's a no-brainer.
You know, well,
And-
that
and,
was
you
their
know,
concern because
And the
there's,
sound barrier is for those people there. So it was brought up, it was a huge deal with that, the whole room full of people, that the safety, I mean, you go down to St. Agnes and it's, you can see everywhere, each way. But I'll tell you, you go in there, it's really, really tight. You must use it sometimes, or maybe you go
well, I
farther
use it
down.
all the time. I mean, I go down
But
there
it's,
quite often.
it's extremely, a tight vision corner there. It's gotta get cut back.
Yeah, well, I think with the shorter distance between Schofield Avenue and then the
Right.
crossing of the Mountain
Right.
View Trail and you get the curve and the intersection. I know Commissioner Dwayne Gow from Plan Commission had made some comment at the last meeting about what his thoughts were on the need for some clearing. We have not followed up with that yet. This is just to put the process in place really, for
Well,
us to
I-
work with the county
Right.
and come up with a clearing.
I think you're gonna get a tremendous amount of positive feedback once it's done.
Yeah,
I
well,
can't
I just
imagine.
hope they don't cut all, because that was their, you know. Okay, that was the phone calls I got. Oh, yes.
Okay, we
Key
have
to
a
my
motion and a
house is
second.
at the
Anything
front.
else on the question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 43, deny operator's license for Elizabeth Rasnick Tight Sort.
Motion
To
to
deny.
second.
To deny by Zhang, second by Ermeling.
This is for down the hill, right?
Yes.
Okay, yep.
On the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Remarks from trustees. Barb?
I said no.
None. Jay?
Oh, thank you.
I don't have anything. Mark?
I'm good.
And Nate?
Have a good night.
Remarks from president, just that Sherry and I interviewed an applicant for the vacant HR committee position. And Linda Hackbarth, she attended the HR committee meeting this afternoon. And she wanted to see what the meeting looked like before she said yes or no. And so she will be on the next village board meeting to approve that committee.
So she said yes. She said yes?
Yes.
Yes, good. Oh, good.
We didn't scare her off.
All right, good.
No. Future items, next meeting, October 21st, for our regular board meeting. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. If not, looking for motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Maloney, second by Feeny. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Meeting adjourned at 7:24.
You excited to go home?
I am.